but I didn't use that for this. I used the more canonical. But I based it more on information we've actually seen on screen. Yeah. Oh, I should also point out at this point that the script was not originally called the Gorn conflict when we were coming up, because I think it was Kyle. Ever since he wrote episode 2, The Storm, he which had Gorn appearing in it, he wanted the Gorn to come back in some kind of war with the Federation later on. But he was worried about how that fitted into the series, because as you know, if you read the series proper, Night Haven's not really about Starfleet or the Federation or galactic politics. Really, it's more on a smaller scale. It focuses on just the lives of these people on this one ship, this small family. Rather than anything on the largest. Although we are moving to a bit more epic storylines, as you'll know if you read the finale. The creator. It's quite a cliffhanger ending there, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing how Kyle is going to resolve that at the beginning of season 2. Yeah, so it was originally. When we were discussing it, it was originally called the Gorn conflict, but I pointed out to Kyle that there was actually a comic graphic novel, comic/graphic novel, because it releases both. It came out from Wildstorm, which are a division of DC, who do some of the superhero stuff. It came out as for the Next Generation, sort of the Next Generation movie era. Called the Gorn Crisis, and I actually did, because I actually own that, and it's I got a lot of the visual inspiration from that graphic novel, as you'll see later in the script. But basically, so I convinced him to change it to the Gorn Conflict, which it doesn't sound as good, but I don't think it sounds as good, but it avoids any direct complications, just in case any of our readers are readers of the expanded universe as well. So moving down to page 2, they're just talking. They do introduce the 2 different biological types of Gorn here. Basically, one of my objectives with this was to explain the difference between the Gorn seen in the original series and the animated series, and the Gorn seen in Enterprise, which was significantly different, apart from obviously being CGI instead of a man in a rubber suit. It was the design was different. It was much more like a dinosaur or a velociraptor sort of looking thing, rather than a big lizard with a caveman sort of clothing on. In my original introduction, it actually explained that there were many, many different species of Gorn, which I do actually drop hints at in parts 2 and 3, but because the story really focuses just on the 2 different types, Keg and I decided it would be best if we just sort of focused it down onto just talking about those 2 specifically, so as not to confuse everybody. The 2 different names, there's the Clark, with 2 A's, no K, who are, who are one type. The Clark are named after Bobby Clark, who was the actor who actually wore the big rubber suit in the original series episode Arena, and they're supposed to be the TOS. By the way, if I say TOS, that means the original series. They were they're supposed to be the TOS style Gorn, and the Chawa, or Chawa, I pronounce it, are named after Wah Chang, who actually designed and built the suit. Didn't wear it, but he designed and built it. And also, if I remember, He also designed the Bird of Prey from Balance of Terror and the Salt Vampire suit from the Man Trap, or the Unreal McCoy, as it was originally known. Yeah, there's a bit of trivia for you. But yes, so the two, that's the origins of those names. Yeah, and those are the two types. Obviously, the Chawa is supposed to be the Enterprise Gorn, era Gorn, and basically the Clark is supposed to be the intelligent, well, the more intelligent leader sort of ones, and the Chawa is supposed to be the nomadic, more aggressive, sort of expendable, lower down ones. I wouldn't say working class, because as we learn later on, they actually have other species somewhat enslaved underneath them. Other subspecies have gone, but also other species that they've conquered or have joined them or whatever, and they're sort of like the working class. Yeah, but you know, the Chawa are supposed to be the more expendable, fightery ones, as we'll see shortly. Yeah, so you can read through all that yourself. A little mention, sort of like a little surprise bit, a little bit of punch to get the reader excited. Halfway down page 3, it mentions, well, it's sort of, the narration ends mentioning Cestus 3, which of course, as any self-respecting Trek fan will know, was the location of the original series episode Arena, where the Gorn and the Federation first had their rather turbulent encounter. So anyway, we end up in a prison cell after all the Lord of the Rings inspired Peter Jackson flying across the landscape camera movement. Incidentally, the look of the planet, the inverted commas look of the planet, was inspired by the depiction of the planet in the graphic novel The Gorn Crisis, but also by Mount Doom, and that's Mordor and things from the Lord of the Rings movies, and Tatooine, the desert planet from Star Wars. I just sort of threw it all in there. I mean, obviously, I don't think that all comes out in the script. I don't think there's many Tatooine references, but that's what I imagined anyway when I was actually writing it in my mind's eye. Yeah, so anyway, we end up here in this prison, and we find out that it's been Dominic Faltermeyer who's been talking, who has appeared twice in the show proper so far. He was in the pilot episode, the beginning, as Sebastian's best friend / work colleague, and sort of co-pilot or fellow shuttle pilot at the Utopia Planitia yards. He was originally named Bobby Clark, actually, in the original versions. I still sometimes call him Bobby, but we decided to rename. I think it was actually Patrick Dobson, who used to work for us early on in season 1. Work with us, I should say, not work for us. Early on in season 1, he had to leave the show before we actually started releasing scripts, I think. But he actually did a lot of work, development work for us, and he ran the website, the original website, and created it and things. And he actually came up with some good story ideas for season 2. I don't know if we're still using those anymore. I don't think we are, but he came up with some cool ideas anyway. But it was his suggestion to rename Bobby Clark, or wasn't Bobby Thomas? Maybe it was Bobby Thomas, but Bobby, to rename him to Dominic Faltermeyer, which I actually think is a rather cool name, much better. Also, as a bit of trivia, originally Captain Witteringham of the Enterprise G was actually originally named Fox, Captain Fox, which I thought was a really cool name, and I actually preferred that to the one Kyle ended up choosing. But yeah, well, it's his